Alright, so summer blockbuster season has begun once again, and we have the start of a brand new phase in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Let's do this! This is Captain America Civil War, which features an all-star cast of heroes, has the Russo brothers directing it once again, and like I said before, is the beginning of Phase 3 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The movie opens up with 4 of the new Avengers on a mission: Captain America, Falcon, Black Widow, and Scarlet Witch. They're basically out there to stop some bad guys, but an incident happens that leads into a lot of civilian casualties. So the government steps in and says, look, we are very grateful for all that you've done. New York, Washington, D.C., Sokovia. We're so grateful that you guys are out there protecting the world, but you're killing people. We know you're not doing it on purpose. We just can't allow you to work independently.
You've operated with unlimited power and no supervision. That's something the world can no longer tolerate.
So Tony Stark is on board with putting all of the Avengers in check, while Steve Rogers is not. He feels that, look, I know the intentions are good, but the safest hands are still our own. We are the most qualified people in the world to defend it. So as you can imagine, tensions brew between the Avengers on which side they take, and things get escalated to a new level once the Winter Soldier, aka Bucky Barnes, resurfaces. So the Marvel Cinematic Universe is 8 years old, with 13 movies, 5 one-shots, and currently 4 TV shows. And I've loved a lot of what the Marvel Cinematic Universe has done, most notably in their movies. Some of their movies might not be as good as others, like, at worst, their worst movie, Thor: The Dark World, is above average. But I've really liked all their movies regardless of their weakest ones, and The Avengers was not only my favorite of their movies, but it's also my favorite superhero movie of all time. Until today. Captain America Civil War is currently my favorite film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This thing is so good. So going by the subtitle, this is obviously a loose, very loose adaptation of the Civil War comic by Mark Millar, which I hear is a very polarizing comic story, which I haven't read myself, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. But basically, it gathered all the Marvel heroes together and divided them so they could fight amongst each other. Here, it's basically most of the heroes that we've been introduced through the Marvel Cinematic Universe. One of the most impressive things about this movie is that while it does adapt a Civil War story and has an all-star cast of heroes, at its core, it's still a Captain America story, and it never forgets that. The whole driving force of the movie is Bucky Barnes. This is really more of a continuation of Captain America the Winter Soldier than it is Age of Ultron, because one of the reasons things get escalated even further is because of the reappearance of Bucky Barnes, and the fact that Cap is so determined to protect his best friend, and stand by his ideal of we're the best to defend the world, that he'll go outside the law just to do that. And Chris Evans absolutely nails it. Chris Evans is Captain America in the way that Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man, Hugh Jackman is Wolverine, or Harrison Ford is Han Solo and Indiana Jones. He is that good in the role, which is why when it came to the release of this movie, I was on Team Cap all the way. But another really impressive thing about this movie is that when you watch the movie, you're going in with your idea of, oh, I'm Team Cap or I'm Team Iron Man. But you watch the movie, you're going to be conflicted on which side you're really on, because they never portray each side as black or white. It's always a gray area, but that's a real impressive feat. You'll go into this movie as Team Cap, but you'll see Tony Stark talk about something, you're like, you know what, he has a point. Or you go in as Team Iron Man, you see Steve Rogers talking about something, you're like, he's right. How am I supposed to feel? So I love that the movie makes you really think about which side you want to take, because both sides are completely valid. And by the time we got to the film's climax, the final battle, you say, I had a hard time picking a side. Like, it was almost heartbreaking in a sense, because again, I went into this movie as Team Cap. However, watching all these movies, I've really grown attached to both Tony Stark and Steve Rogers. And when it got to the point where they were fighting, it was just hard. It was just watching two people that you really like have their friendship crumble and start fighting. It was it was heartbreaking, man. And in case you're wondering, yes, there is a villain in this movie. They haven't shown him in any of the trailers or the marketing for this movie, but when he comes in, he actually has a motivation for his actions that you don't really find out until the end. And by the time you get to the end, you kind of understand where he's coming from. What he does is not acceptable, but you can understand what he's going through and why he's doing the things he does. Now, even though it is a Captain America story, one of the other great things about it is that every other character gets their chance to shine without taking the focus away from Captain America. Like Scarlet Witch gets some character development, including Vision and the relationship between the two of them. And Sharon Carter, thank God she has more stuff to do here, because Emily VanCamp was Sharon Carter in Winter Soldier, and while she was good, she didn't have much to do. Here, she has much more to do this time around. Not a whole lot, but just enough to where she doesn't feel like she's irrelevant. Even the newcomers in this movie have a lot to do, which I guess I'll segue into the thing that everyone's wondering. How is Spider-Man? How is Tom Holland as Spider-Man?
On the roof!
Hey, everyone.
Without flinching, I could say this is the best film version of Spider-Man we have. For one, he's a teenager. The way he moves in battle is awesome. The way he interacts with all the characters is great. It's really everything I imagined Spider-Man to be, and it's one of the reasons why Spider-Man was one of my favorite superheroes growing up. Like, even when I really didn't get into any other superheroes, even Batman per se, I always really liked Spider-Man. So to see him done the way I imagined Spider-Man to be was such a dream come true. That being said, more than Spider-Man, I was looking forward to Black Panther, because admittedly with Spider-Man, we've seen him done well in other adaptations, whether it's the first two Sam Raimi movies or Spectacular Spider-Man, the animated series, but we've never actually seen Black Panther in action, and Chadwick Boseman as T'Challa, aka Black Panther, he's awesome in this movie. We kind of get a Black Panther origin story, but again, it does not distract from Captain America's story, and it's really good. You see why he's doing the things he does. He's ruthless. Black Panther is so awesome in this movie, and really for Spider-Man and Black Panther, it makes me really excited for both their upcoming movies. The action scenes are very well done in this movie. Much like with Winter Soldier, the action is very quick, fast-paced, and you feel the hits. It's all well done, and the movie delivers on what everyone is calling the single best superhero set piece out there, and they're not exaggerating. That is really true. What I'm talking about is the airport sequence that you see in the trailers, but in the trailers they only show them running towards each other. You ain't seen nothing yet. They keep the best surprises in the movie. And the thing is, it's everyone. It's Captain America, Bucky, Scarlet Witch, Falcon, Ant-Man, and Hawkeye versus Iron Man, War Machine, Black Widow, Black Panther, Vision, and Spider-Man. It'll make you feel the hits. It'll make you laugh. It'll make you go, whoa! It's got everything. And seeing it in IMAX, because this sequence was filmed with the new Alexa IMAX cameras, so awesome. It makes it that much grander. And the final battle, I've talked about it before, but while it's not as grand or creative as the airport sequence with all the heroes, it works in a different level. It works on a more emotional level, and it is, again, very brutal. It's a very brutal fight, and heartbreaking, as I've said before. Now, this movie, in my opinion, is so good that the only negative I have about the movie that I can think of is a nitpick so small that I'm worried a hand will come out of the screen and slap me across the face just for saying it. But here it goes. Whenever the movie transitions to a new location, name of the location has to pop up on the screen, but it takes up the entire frame. It's in giant letters rather than in the low corner where it usually is. And maybe it's because I saw it in IMAX and 3D that it got annoying, but it just really bothered me. Every time we did that, like, okay, I can't barely see what's going on. Can you move the text? So, yeah, that's my nitpick. And there you go. Saved you guys from slapping me. Ow. However, I'd be an idiot if I told you that this small aspect ruined the movie for me, because Captain America Civil War is a masterpiece. It's my favorite Marvel Cinematic Universe film. It's my favorite superhero movie. It not only works great as a Captain America story, but it's also a fantastic third film. It juggles so many elements while staying focused on its main plot point, and it succeeds in being Marvel's darkest film while retaining all of the things that make these Marvel movies so fun to watch. Obviously, my rating is get off your ass and go see Captain America Civil War right now. I think it's going to stand the test of time and be one of the most important movies in the genre, along with The Dark Knight and The Avengers. It is that good. And that's my review for Captain America Civil War. In terms of a spoiler review, I'm probably going to do that next week, just to give people more of an opportunity to see it, because I do want to talk about the things in this movie that I can't talk about. So until then, I hope you enjoyed this review. I can't wait to hear your guys' thoughts on Captain America Civil War if you've seen it. Like, comment, subscribe, share me with your friends. Don't forget to check out my official website, and you can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud, Periscope, and Riff.tv. This is the real Mr. Robinson telling you there is only one.